Hello and welcome to Loops and Leather. Today I am going to talk about processing fiber. So we're kind of getting back to some basics here. um, and I know a lot of people have questions about how to process raw wool. Um, when I started out, I did not have a lot of fancy or expensive equipment. I have gradually accumulated a few pieces to help me process more fiber faster, but you don't have to have super expensive equipment to process your fiber. It will take you a little bit longer to do, but you can do it. So I wanted to show you how we're going to take this washed Shetland wool. This actually was part of a suet bath. It didn't come out as clean as I'd like. I'm probably going to end up washing it again. I've still got some brown tips. It's still a little bit greasy, but nonetheless, we're going to take a look at this fiber. It's a Shetland that I got, and I bought the whole fleece. So I got tons to play with. But we're going to take this nasty, gnarly looking bit of fiber, and we're going to turn it into this beautiful combed top that is ready to spin. And all you need is less than $10 for a pair of these. They call them bee capping forks. So I got both of these from Tractor Supply. They're handy, they're close by. I think they were $3.99 a piece, something like that. I've seen them on Amazon. I've seen a couple of different versions on them, but basically they're actually designed to take the wax caps off of honeycomb for apiary people that raise bees. But I thought they would be great. They're for processing wool. They're really strong forks on these. They're not cheap, bendy. They're not gonna just pull out of place if you're really kind of putting some tension against the wool while you're processing it. So for $10, I got two. Actually, less than $10, I got two. So let's back up a little bit. There's a huge difference between combs and carders. So you'll see people that have drum carders. You'll also see hand carders. This is an antique pair of hand carders that I have. They're not in the best shape, and they have this really not a fine cloth on them. They definitely look handmade, and they're antiques. So I keep them around, but I don't really use them. I may use them occasionally, but for the most part, they just sit in the in a bag that I have. You could use these, I suppose. You could. I've got a whole basket of this wool over here, so you could take some of these locks that I've opened up a little bit already. You could put some of this fiber on here. I did open some of these up just to see the locks, and you could just get started kind of just lightly combing across. These really aren't the best for doing wool, and I'm not the greatest at carding either, so don't use my video for carding. But I know you're just supposed to kind of lightly brush across the top. You're not supposed to grate it together, and then you're supposed to put it back on the other card, which never works for me, so I end up peeling it off. I always feel like this is kind of a mess. My fibers never really align. This is fine, I guess, for taking out some of the big vegetable matter, but it's just not great for me. I don't enjoy this process, and I don't really like the result of it. It's still just kind of a mess. Maybe if I had better carders and practiced a little bit, that process would be better for me, but not my thing. So I got these combs. Let me show you the difference between this and those cards, hand carders, and just putting them on these combs. Okay, so we're just gonna take our comb and we're gonna run it across, and we're just gonna, you're going perpendicular, so you've got fiber on one and you're coming across the front this way. You can go across, back, flip the comb around and go that way. But you're not going up and down, you're going across. And what happens is any of those short second cuts, vegetable matter, things like that, stay behind the teeth. So hopefully you can see on the back side we've got this little bit of fuzz here. This is all short, neppy, with little vegetable matter in it. I just set that aside. Most of the time I throw it away, especially if it's got a lot of vegetable matter in it. And then I'll take and flip around which comb is in which hand and do it again. And you just comb, and it doesn't require a lot of pressure or force. And I'll just like rake it up against the side, trying to get as much off of there as possible so I don't have so much waste, but without getting the neps. You don't want to pull the neps back through, or else that'll be in your spin and it will give you an inconsistent spinning. So again, I don't know if you can really see very well, but there's vegetable matter in here, neps. It's kind of nasty, so we just throw that away. And after you do that a few times, you just take the end, and there's still actually some vegetable matter in here. I could do this one more time. I'm going to do this a couple more times. I'm going to get all that out of there, because I don't want to spin that. And occasionally you're going to get a little piece, but I really don't want to spin that. So we're just going back and forth. We're letting all of the yucky junk stay behind on the back of the tines. That's just nasty stuff. Let me set that aside. And then if I look, do I have any more? Yeah, it looks okay. For demonstration purposes. We're going to just gradually wiggle that off of there. And we don't want to pull this fiber up here through, so be careful not to get too close, because there's still a little bit of yucky on the back side. But now, instead of having that kind of there's one little piece here, did not come out. I'm going to pick that out of there. I don't want to spin it. So we've gone basically from something that looked like this, these were fluffed locks, to combed top. Now, granted, combs the size, you can't do a ton all at once, right? These are good for a little bit at a time, but they're super economical, and this is great if you don't have a ton of fiber to process. If you just have one fleece, or you're doing a little bit at a time, this is an awesome way to do it. I actually, if I have downtime, I can just sit and throw some of this on here. And again, these are locks that I fluffed up, and you just start right at the tips. You just pull. It's okay if you get a chunk on there, because we're going to do it a couple times. Right now we're just kind of getting it all onto the combs. That's fine. I'm going to go back the other way. But even on that first pass where it's not at all aligned or combed out, you'll see that there is the short bits and neps left on the back of the tines. Now we're going to switch hands. And again, you're just kind of starting at the ends. You're not starting way at the bottom, but you start kind of toward the ends. You just go back and forth. Super meditative to do this. And we pull off guard hairs, vegetable matter. I just do it a few times until it seems nice and consistent. I don't see any vegetable matter or chunks. I don't see second cuts or neps in there. Every now and then I'll run across one and I'll pick it out by hand. But for the most part, these work really, really well. and they work great on really raw locks, and I'll show you in just a minute. So once I'm done, I just kind of make, little lump, and I wiggle. Once it feels like it's going to let go, I stop and then move my hand up. Wiggle. I'll show you if I get too close. I try and get as much off of as I want, right, as I can, because the idea is not to get rid of a whole bunch of good fiber. You want to get as much off of there as you can. But I do check the ends, because sometimes if I get too close, I'll see some neps that came through the tines. This one looks good though. Look at that. It is perfect. It is ready to go. Ready to spin. Clear off this comb. Here are some locks that have not been fluffed or separated at all. They're pretty dense. There's some stain tips on there. Like I said, this wasn't a great wash, but it's okay. I am going to go ahead and just grab the ends on here, kind of pull a little bit, grab more ends. I try and start with the cut end, but I'm not super worried about it if it's not the cut end. We're going to get it on there. And you can really load up these combs. It takes a little more effort, but so I've got this kind of gnarly looking clump of fiber, and again, just start at the ends, combing, getting things aligned on the tines. I'll even put my thumb on the back like this and kind of hold on to some of that. Go the other way, back and forth, until I feel like I've gotten everything good off of that comb. You can see what we got. It's just a little bit. It's not a whole lot, but it's just like second cuts, really short bits, not fun to spin. And so here we are, first pass. Look already how much better that is. Here we go, second pass. And I can see some vegetable matter in here. This lighting's not the greatest. Not sure if you can see it. I see it. Back and forth. That's clearly a second cut right there. It's just short. Look at how tiny and short that is. You can't spin that. Maybe you could, but I wouldn't enjoy it. There's a little piece of vegetable matter I'm going to pick out. I definitely recommend doing this over, I've actually got some paper towels nearby. You can do it outside. You can do it over a sheet, a pillowcase or something, like an old pillowcase that, you don't care if you get some vegetable matter and dirt on there, because it does drop dirt and fiber as you do this. This gets all of that out of there. And the wonderful thing about combing is that it makes all of the fibers aligned, so it gives you what is called combed top, where all the fibers are going in the same direction. And you can see that when you're pulling like this, that all those fibers are going in the same direction. When you card, that's not always the case. But so I'm going to go ahead and pull this off of here. Just grab when it feels like it's going to let go. I release, move my hand up, wiggle, release, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you have it. That's what's left on that comb. Not bad. And again, here we are, ready to go. It's beautiful. So there you have it. You know, for anybody that wants to process some fiber, but you don't want to invest in a drum carder or the big Viking combs, this is definitely a great option to do it. I have a set of Viking combs here just to give you an idea on the size difference. Get these up. It took me quite a while to save my pennies for these. These are Indigo Hound combs. These are weapons. These things are enormous. They're heavy, and they are super, super sharp. So they come on a stand. Let me take this one out. Hopefully you can see. Let me back this up. Just how huge and intense these things are. You can do a lot of fiber on here, a ton at a time, but they're sharp. You really need to be careful. I cautious, even with these small combs, you can see the size difference here and how much you could do at a time, right? Even these are incredibly sharp. Those tips are pointy. Do be careful if you're using combs. I absolutely love comb top. It's my preference over carded fiber. I will even get carded fiber sometimes and comb it, just because I love spinning a combed fiber that's been processed with combs. So, but these are just enormous. But you'll pay, you know, depending if you find, you know, a set used. I did get these used, but they were still well over $100 for the set. Buying them new, I don't even know what they charge for a brand new set of Viking combs this size. These are Indigo Hounds, which are kind of a cool thing. They're limited editions and they're all numbered. But the process is still the same, but instead of, you can put a lot more fiber on there, and you would clamp this into the holder to your table and then use the other one. But the motion's the same, right? I could even, you know, use this fork and off of here. The motion is the same. You're still going left to right, but of course you're doing a ton more when you're on these big giant combs. So, anyway, love them. Love the combs. If you can get some big ones, they even sell, you can get mini combs, which are a little bit lighter than these big, huge Viking combs. You can get them as singles. You can get them as doubles. These are four. These are 4-pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. I take it back. 5 rows of tines on these. These are not like monsters. But you can get, you know, keep your eye out for deals on the fiber groups or sometimes eBay. But there are some private makers that are selling combs. And you can get some smaller combs that are a little more like, you know, the traditional combs. These come with the covers on them. Turn that around. One of those is bent. There you have it. So those are the Viking combs for processing a lot more at a time. I get these out when I've got a bunch to do, but these are great for just sitting outside, portable, lightweight, inexpensive. All right, y'all, that's my fiber hack for tonight, and I hope that this helps people, because I see people asking all the time about combs versus carders, and there's a vast difference between what you get off of a paddle carder like this and a comb. So check it out, try it out. It's a $10 investment, and I think you'll really enjoy it. That's it. If you like my videos, please do like and subscribe. I am trying to build my channel. If you have comments, questions, please leave a comment. I'll be happy to respond to you, you know, directly, and you know, just type it down below, and I will get back to you. So there you have it. Have a great night, everybody. And thanks for joining me here on Loops and Leather. Bye-bye.